Hi, I'm Shannon, and for my midterm public relations plan assignment, I decided to do a Red Bull collaboration with the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Foundation. The campaign title is Wings of Gold. The hashtag for social media posts is also Wings of Gold. For the 4-step process public relations plan, step 1 is research. So, what do we want to reach? So Red Bull consumers, Team USA Olympic supporters, current and future Paralympic athletes and their families, media outlets specializing in philanthropy and sports, corporate partners and retailers who can help promote the campaign in stores through commercials, eye-catching displays, and media attention. What do we want people in each public to do? So for consumers, we want them to purchase the limited edition Red Bull Gold Can energy drink and engage with the hashtag Wings of Gold social media challenge to help raise donations. For athletes and fans, we want them to share their journey and stories of perseverance to celebrate the Paralympic spirit online and at events. For the media, we want them to cover the campaign launch, highlight athlete partnerships, and provide updates on the donation total. Corporate partners and retailers, we want them to feature the product in store and help promote the charitable cause. So what messages do we want to communicate to each public that will increase knowledge, change opinions, and encourage desired behaviors? So the core message is Red Bull gives you wings, Team USA soars higher. Every gold can fuels the dreams of Olympic and Paralympic athletes. And then the supporting message is Red Bull supports the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Foundation by donating 10% of the proceeds from every limited edition gold can sold between January 2026 and April 2026. Together, we can empower all athletes to pursue their dreams no matter the circumstances. You can achieve anything you put your mind to regardless of the limitations. Your purchase helps to provide Paralympic athletes with top-tier specialized prosthetic limbs and equipment to lead them towards a gold medal and empower future champions. So for step 2, this is the planning process. So our goals would be to strengthen Red Bull's reputation as a philanthropic company that supports inclusion and athletic excellence. Our key publics include Red Bull consumers, Olympic and Paralympic fans, current and future Paralympic athletes and their families, sports communities, retail partners and sponsors, sports media outlets, young adults. And our objectives for this is to achieve a 25% increase in social media engagement across Red Bull's media platforms during the campaign months, January through April. Sell 10 million limited edition gold cans throughout the 4 months of campaigning. This would raise an estimated amount ranging from $5 to $10 million in donations for the foundation. Although this goal may look unattainable to some people, in 2024, Red Bull sold about 1.8 billion cans just in the US alone, which highlights the popularity and success of the company and gives us confidence to create higher goals for ourselves. We are also looking to generate at least 500 million earned media impressions from coverage pertaining to the campaign and Paralympic Games. Currently, Red Bull has 30.1 million followers on Instagram, 1.9 million followers on X, and 19.7 million followers on TikTok. With Red Bull's large fan base and mass following across numerous media platforms, it will allow the campaign to get the attention and exposure it deserves, to promote donation efforts and ensure a successful outcome. Some of the strategies for this section is to take advantage of the symbolism associated with the gold can and Olympic medal to associate the product with excellence, unity, and victory. Allow Red Bull's athlete ambassadors and Paralympians to share personal stories highlighting teamwork and resilience. Staying consistent with media exposure and engaging with the public, which includes staying consistent throughout all media platforms, capturing new content to post daily, creating a timeline and content calendar for the media team to ensure that every part of the campaign process is posted at the right time, interact with fans who are posting pictures of their gold cans and using the hashtag Wings of Gold, monitor website traffic and the number of sales being made in stores, and posting updates regarding the donation total. Now moving on to tactics. A month before the Paralympic Games start, so February 6th through March 6th, Red Bull can post a countdown across their social media platforms to get people excited for the event. Each day, the post will include how many days away the event is, the current donation total, and it will highlight an athlete participating in the games and kind of tell their story. Another idea is to launch a video featuring Olympic and Paralympic athletes training together. This will show that there are no limitations when it comes to sports and that we can thrive off each other's differences. Next, we will introduce the hashtag Wings of Gold challenge on TikTok and Instagram, encouraging users to show what gives them wings. Some other tactics include partnering with ESPN for special features, highlighting athletes' journeys, and distributing the limited edition gold cans to major retail stores nationwide, and then also hosting pop-up events leading up to the game. Now moving on to step 3 of the process, it's implementation. So the actions the organization is taking as a part of the plan would be to release the limited edition gold can in January 2026, available through April 2026, donate 10% of the proceeds to U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Foundation, collaborate with Team USA athletes and ambassadors to share digital content and attend launch events, host press conferences, statewide events, and social media challenges to build momentum before and during the games. For messages sent through each communication channel, social media would say, every gold can gives Team USA wings. 10% of the proceeds go to the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Foundation, hashtag Wings of Gold. For commercials, specifically athlete-focused storytelling, it would say, fuel the dream, power the gold. For press releases, they would announce donation milestones and athlete partnerships. And then for events and retail displays, they would say, your purchase helps Team USA soar. Red Bull's limited edition gold can collaboration is available now. For the timetables and who is accountable for making sure each step is accomplished, we broke it down into months. So November 2025 through December 2025, the key task is to have campaign teaser rollouts, and this would be through the Red Bull marketing and public relations team. January 2026, we would need to have the product launch and press release dates, and then the Red Bull brand and media partners would be responsible for this task. February 2026 through March 2026, we would need main campaigning activities and digital promotions carried out by our social and athlete marketing teams. And lastly, April 2026 would be the announcement of the final donation total and a campaign wrap-up. Responsible for this is Red Bull and the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Foundation. For the number of people reached in each key public, we broke it down into 3 sections. So for consumers, our goal is to have 25 million through retail and digital advertising. Sports fans, our goal is 10 million through broadcasts and event coverage. And our goal for media and corporate partners would be 2,000 plus contacts through press distribution. So the way we will monitor results of actions and messages while keeping track of the campaign milestones would be through tracking gold can sales weekly, monitoring the hashtag Wings of Gold engagement and social media analytics, record media coverage and sentiment analysis, and conduct mid-campaign surveys on brand perception to get feedback. The last step of this process is the evaluation stage. So to measure effectiveness of the program against objectives through behavioral, cultural, and social changes, we would compare pre- and post-campaign sales and social media engagement data, evaluate donation total versus our goal, which is 5 million, assess shifts in public perception of Red Bull as a philanthropic-driven brand. To determine how members of each key public interpret our messages, we would use online surveys and focus groups to assess message effectiveness and emotional response. Also, we would collect athlete and consumer testimonials about the campaign impact. To identify ways to improve and develop recommendations for the future, we would enhance accessibility storytelling and partnerships with adaptive sports programs and build a reoccurring annual Wings of Gold initiative for future Olympic events. For adjusting the plan, materials, messages, and activities before going forward, we would modify messaging to better highlight athlete diversity and simplify our call to action for higher engagement. Next, to collect data and record information for use in the research phase of the next program, we would make sure to store social analytics, press coverage, and survey data for future Red Bull philanthropic campaigns. And we would also share success metrics with the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Foundation for long-term collaborations. After breaking down the campaign through the 4-step process, I decided to break it down even more through the 10-step process. So this includes our goals, key publics, objectives for the key publics, strategies, tactics, activities, evaluation, materials, budget, and then the timetable and task list. So for our goals, it would be to strengthen Red Bull's image as an advocate for human potential and inclusion, raise $5 million for the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Foundation, and increase our target audience brand engagement amount, 18 to 35-year-olds, by 25% during the campaign. For our key publics, I broke it down into two sections. So for our primary key publics, it would be young adults 18 to 35, athletes and families, sports fans, philanthropists, energy drink consumers, specifically fans of Red Bull, people with limb deficiency, athletes or non-athletes, and Olympic fans, specifically Team USA supporters. The secondary key publics would be media outlets, corporate sponsors, sports organizations, educational institutions, and retail partners. So the objectives for each key publics, I broke it down into three sections. So the first section is awareness objective. We want to achieve 70% campaign recall rate, which is the ratio of correctly predicted positive observations to all actual positive observations among Red Bull's US consumers within 3 months. The action objectives would be to generate 250,000 participant signups for the Wings of Gold Challenge, and the attitude objective would be to increase positive brand perceptions by 20% across all major social media platforms. Next, moving on to strategies, so how we will approach the challenge of working towards our objectives. We would leverage Red Bull's existing athlete network and sponsorship experience, position the collaboration as a movement rather than a one-time event, and integrate storytelling of both Olympic and Paralympic athletes to highlight diversity and determination. Now moving on to tactics and how we will use these to carry out our strategies and work towards our objectives. The first one is to launch a hero video with the title From Grit to Gold, featuring elite and adaptive athletes. Then we will host Wings Week, which would be a nationwide pop-up event which will include virtual reality training experiences with VR goggles simulating live Olympic events and competing against pro athletes, as well as having donation kiosks around the event. Next, we would partner with influencers and former Olympians to share campaign content. We would run interactive TikTok challenges, including the hashtag Wings of Gold, including fun interactive filters. Next, we would pitch stories to ESPN, NBC Sports, and USA Today for exclusive athlete features and behind-the-scenes content. Next, we will include a QR code on the back of the gold can, which will bring people to our donation website, just in case they want to further their donations, besides the 10% that's going towards the foundation. And then an extra thing that we can do would be for Red Bull's Spotify profile, making a Wings of Gold playlist that has motivational and popular workout music, and then having another playlist included titled Red, White, and Boosted that has handpicked songs by Team USA Olympic athletes that highlight their favorite pregame pump-up songs. Some of the specific activities we would have to carry out our strategies would be to have a press conference at the US Olympic Training Center, meet and greet events with Red Bull athletes at college campuses, exclusive YouTube mini documentary series on athlete journeys, and having custom Red Bull X US Olympic and Paralympic Foundation merchandise line. For step 7, it's evaluation. So I broke this down into two sections. Our quantitative evaluation would include the 5 million in donations, 500 million earned media impressions, and a 25% increase in digital engagement. For the qualitative evaluation, we would have positive feedback from athlete communities and fans, enhanced reputation for brand purpose alignment, monitor website and media traffic, and conduct surveys and focus groups to get feedback. Next, moving on to materials and what we will need to execute the tactics. First, we would need press kits, which is a collection of media assets and information for journalists, media outlets, and retail partners to use, which provides high-quality photos, logos, company's mission statement, recent press releases, background information, contact details, and links to company's website, social media profiles, and past media coverage. Next, we would need a social media content calendar to organize and schedule future social media posts. We would need a variety of posters with different purposes. So promotional and advertising posters, some with event details, some that have informational and educational facts on them, and then other posters that are just creative and have cool pictures from the campaign. Next, we would need event signage, which includes various visual graphics, banners, posters, digital displays, event information guides, billboards, and the VR headset. Next, we would need video content, including commercials, short-form content for social media posts, hero videos, interviews, YouTube mini docuseries, behind-the-scenes footage, our initial promotional video at the start of the launch, and then our recap video at the end of the campaign. And then lastly, our merchandise line for our Red Bull X USOPF collaboration. Now moving on to our budget, our estimated budget total is $3.5 million. And then I broke it down into 4 different sections. So for production and advertising, this would include digital content, video content, and photography content. This came out to $1.2 million. For events, so launch, pop-ups, and interactive components would be $800,000. Our donation commitment would come out to over $500,000. And for our materials and logistics, this came out to $300,000. Next, moving on to the last step of this 10-step process. This would be our timetable and task list, including what is going on, who is responsible for making sure that is accomplished, and having a clear start date, end date, and deadline for all of our tasks. I will post pictures of the timetable right now to highlight everything going on throughout the months spanning from November 2025 to April 2026. To kind of wrap all this up, I decided to generate some AI advertising components to help better visualize how this campaign would look. So I first asked ChatGPT to make a advertising promotional poster for the campaign. So it highlights Team USA, Paralympic athletes. This is what the gold Red Bull can would look like. It has our tagline, Wings of Gold. And I also made sure to ask it to have both the Red Bull and US Paralympic and Olympic Foundation logos visible. Next, I asked ChatGPT to generate the Spotify playlist for the Red Bull campaign. On the left is the Wings of Gold playlist that has the motivational, popular workout songs. And then on the right is the Red, White, and Boosted playlist that has handpicked songs from Team USA, Olympic, and Paralympic athletes to highlight their favorite pre-game pump-up songs. Next, I asked ChatGPT to generate our merchandise line. In the prompt, I asked it to make sure both of the logos were visible and create a product line that has themes pertaining to USA, the Olympics, modern, sleek, keep it like athletic looking. And it generated a t-shirt, sweatshirt, a hat, and a bag. Aside from the timetable I previously showed in my 10-step PR plan, I asked it to generate like an official professional timetable that looks like it was made for the Red Bull company. So this is kind of a blank template of what an official timetable and task list would look like for this campaign.